All right. So, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? My name is Ty Aarons, and I do run the MITM Club. How many of you guys know, and just show of hands, if you know that you're going to make $1 million in your life no matter what? So many folks don't realize that no matter what job you have, no matter how you work, you're going to have $1 million pass through your hands. The question is, how much of it do you keep to make work harder than you do? That's what a lot of people mess up with. Today, we'll be talking about a different topic, but I'll share a little bit about myself before we hop into everything. So, yes, my name is Ty Aaron. I started out in the fitness industry when I was younger. I actually started running comedy shows and music events. Now we have a fitness app called Release the Beast Fitness, where we help people master their fitness. And then MITM helps people master their finances. Some of the folks that I've learned from over the years are folks like Wim Hof. They call him the Iceman. He's run a marathon in the Arctic with nothing but shorts on. He climbed Mount Everest with pretty much the same thing. I learned from him back in 2017. Elliot Halls is a strength coach in the States, one of the OG YouTubers. I learned a lot from him through his King Transformation program. We have Daniel Priestley for business development and this tall guy over here, which is Tony Robbins. All right. So I've learned from all these people over the years. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars to learn and develop all these skills. And I'm hoping that I can condense as much of that to share with you guys so you have a leg up. Is that fair? Does that sound good? Great. So let's hop into it. Today, we're going to talk about vision casting in the age of AI. All right. And so many things are going to change over the next few years because of AI. And it's important that you put your best foot forward now, right? You guys already have a leg up because you're young and your brains are so malleable. It's going to be very easy for you to step into certain spaces and learn things that may even take me long to learn. And we're going to have some activities where I ask you guys some questions about your experience with AI. But first, let's go into it. Your dreams are possible when you write them down. This is why you have your phones today, because we're going to do some stuff around dreaming and vision casting. And I want you to write it down because when you write it down, it's real. Now, there's two types of people today. The first person are overwhelmed. Has anyone felt this way before in life? You're like, oh, I'm so stressed. I got this test coming up. Oh man, the game isn't going the way I want. I'm stressing out. A lot of people, they may feel overwhelmed. But there's another type of person, and ideally, moving forward in life, you guys will be more aligned with the second person, the person that's building, okay, figuring it out and saying, hey, this is how I'm being strategic with how I'm building out my life. Now, they're using the same tools, they have all the same opportunities, but they just have different directions. And there's so many tools that are available for you guys, and way more tools than were available when I was younger. Some of your coaches and instructors were younger that ideally I want to see you guys starting to use. Now, the truth about AI can write things, it can automate, it can do so many different things for you, but you still have to do the heavy lifting. It doesn't fix if you have no direction. The more clear you are with where you want to go in life, the easier things get. And you guys are at the perfect place now to start to plan what life you want to live. In fact, so crazy. I'm living my 15-year-old when I was 15 years old. Everything I'm doing now is his dream life. I wish he was dreaming bigger. By the end of today, there's three main things I want you guys to walk away with. The first objective for today's session is to have a clear long-term vision. If you could have a dream life and live your dream life, what does it look like? And that will become your North Star. So no matter what's happening in life, how crazy things get, you have a direction to go into. All right. The second thing I want you to have today is to reverse engineer your life. You start with the end in mind. You think where you want to end up and you just work backwards. So as you're going on through life, I'm just walking in the steps that I already imagined. We're going to do a lot of imagination today. And I want you guys to use AI as a multiplier and not a crutch. I'm really curious. Has anyone used AI to help them with their homework? Anyone here? Yeah. Did you use it to do the whole homework for you, or did you use it to give ideas and then, yeah, a little bit of both? I can say I've used one before. I used it for everything, but you want to use it as a multiplier because it can make you that much better as an enhancer. Not just saying, "Hey, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever, do this for me, answer all the questions." Maybe use it to say, "Hey, based on this assignment, what do you think is going to be on the test, and can you quiz me?" These are ways you can use that as a multiplier instead of it just doing the work for you. Okay. All right. Now, why do people feel lost? And a lot of older folks are feeling lost nowadays because AI is taking over so many jobs and so many spaces and places. Anyone seen like the Optimus robot from Tesla? Yeah, you guys seen that? It's pretty cool, eh? They're saying they're going to be taking over so many physical jobs. And I've watched a lot of my friends already losing work because it's mostly mental work where you're doing data entry or repetitive stuff. right? People are feeling lost these days, and it can be more and more difficult to figure out what path to go on in the future. How do you build a dream life if you don't even know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks? AI is moving pretty quickly, and these are things we're going to look at. Now, for the last 10,000 years, we've been in the agricultural age. You guys know, anyone know what agricultural means? Yeah, exactly. That's right on the money. So for 10,000 years, humans were farming, slow, till the ground, plant a seed, water it, grow it. And we developed that. We got really good at that. We had time to slowly adapt with that from being hunter gatherers to then being an agricultural age. It was 10,000 whole years. It's a long time. Thousands and thousands of people. So we only live for 100 if. All right. Then we shifted to the industrial age. Does anyone know what the industrial age was? Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So once we started building factories and getting people into cities, and now we're starting to create things and generate things, this is the industrial age. And in fact, what's that one car, the first car that was made on an assembly line? Does anyone know? First car that was made on an assembly line. I think it was like the Ford Model T or something. It was like the first car they made on an assembly line where they're like, every person has one specialized job. So they'd have the car going down the factory, and each person just does one thing. Oh, I just put on a tire. I don't do anything else. I just put on the tire. That's it. And the next person's, I put the bolts on, and that's it. That's how a lot of factories operate to this day. And that changed things so much. It didn't matter if you worked in a farm or doing agriculture anymore. No, this is where the money is. And we had to start to adapt to that, but it was only about 150 to 200 years. If we lived, I don't know, let's say people live to 80 years old, that's only 4 people. It's not a lot of time compared to 10,000 years. And we fast forward again. Now we're in the internet age, right? This is from the 90s till now. And I was born around when the internet was starting to be used more widely. It's not even that long ago, not even one person ago, since the internet's been around. And so much has changed. You couldn't say, I need more shampoo. I want to order it to my house. Things have changed so much. We're in this digital internet age, and people had to adapt. Really quick question. Do you guys know what a computer used to be? No, but a good guess. Anyone else want to guess what a computer was back in the day? Printing machine. Technically, you're like half right. When they made the printing press, that was like the first version of a computer, and that's how they started making newspapers. So technically, yeah, even before that, like a typewriter, they technically and ting, te- technically, those are aspects of what computer was. Yeah, I'll take one more. Yeah, that is the closest. Yes, a computer actually was a person before. Okay, to compute something is to then take data and do something with that data. So back in the day, a computer was a person, and they had buildings full of people all trying to figure out a problem together. They were called computers. Isn't that crazy? Is your mind blown? Yeah, computers were people before. All right. Like a calculator used to be a person, like not a device. These were jobs that people had. And as things shifted, we didn't need those people to do those things anymore because technology could now step in and do it. But then new jobs came along, right? New work came along and new possibilities came along. All right. Now we're in the AI age. We're only 2 to 5 years in, technically 5 years in, right? It's crazy. So much has shifted. Have you guys heard of AI agents? Yeah. And actually, I'm curious. I'm just gonna jump to this next one. Who? So I already asked before. Who used AI? Hands up. Yeah, a bunch of people use some AI. I'm curious. What do you guys know about AI? Because you guys might know stuff that I don't even know yet. So yeah, what are some things you know about AI? It's not independent. Not yet. Ooh, yeah. AI does not always give the best answers. That is absolutely correct. Anyone else want to share some things they know about AI? Yeah, I'll take another one. Okay. Okay. And you know what? You're going into the prompt engineering, which is a specific skill that folks should develop. Has anyone heard of prompt engineering? Not yet. What you're talking about is called prompt engineering. That's a specific thing. So you can get it to do exactly what you want. And a lot of people need to learn that skill. All right. You wanted to share something about AI. Yeah, it is really easy to check information. And now it's getting smarter and smarter. Yeah, it does. It can help you build out and have more ideas. Yeah. Even for new businesses that I'm looking to launch and develop out, I'm going back and forth with various AIs to get ideas. Say, hey, can you actually do the research on if this makes sense in the market? Is it something people would want? Like I'm trying to synthesize things right now, or I'm trying to merge things together and say I'm trying to make a fitness and finance package. Can you help me figure that out? Yeah, talk to me. It can search the web, and that's actually recent. I think as of what, November, they started giving AI access to the web. So maybe even a little earlier than that, but yes, it can search the web now. Yeah, yeah. You can use it to make sure that you're even shifting your personal influence and abilities. Yeah, you definitely can. And now I'm actually Daniel Priestley, one of my mentors. I spent like thousands of dollars just being in this program. I watched their whole company change from being like, write this down in a spreadsheet and then bring your answers to us and we'll help you, to then they just made it AI bot and you just put in the AI and it spits out a business plan for you. It's crazy. It's so much faster. Like sometimes I go on a walk and I have my ChatGPT, the voice one, because I'm paying for their premium. I just talk with it to get my ideas more fleshed out for a business thing that I'm working on. So you can definitely do that. And that's important in this day and age. Yeah. It does. In fact, it's something called a large language model, right? LLM. So more information you put into it is the smarter that it makes it. The thousands of people, millions of people all working on this thing together. That's why it's getting smarter. All right. It's not fully autonomous yet, but it's getting there. I think it's AGI that we're going to be looking at. Anyone else want to share one more thing before we continue on? Okay, these are some really great insights. Like you guys are already on the money and ahead of things, and I love to see it. All right. Now, every generation before you has had a couple of things lined up for them, and it was much easier. All right. They had a clear path. Hey, go here, then go there. They had stable timelines. Hey, you're going to go work for the factory like your dad did. You're going to work for 30 years. You're going to retire at 60 and have a pension. That doesn't really exist anymore. There was predictable outcomes. You can say, I'm going to put this money in a 401k and then I chill out on the weekends it's not the same. For you guys, it's going to be very different. And it's an exciting time for you guys. What do you also have? You also have unlimited options to do almost anything that you want at this point. If you set your vision and you look at exactly what you want, it's so much easier. Do you guys know what an encyclopedia is? Yeah? What's an encyclopedia? Or, yeah, what's an encyclopedia? It's a book version of the Wikipedia. I love that answer. Yes. And back in the day, I'm lucky I didn't really have to do this. It's more so like my parents and some other folks, they would have to go to a library and go through all of these books to get the answers to things and figure things out. Or they'd have a set of encyclopedias in their houses. You guys have a phone, and not only do you have the internet, if you have AI, you can ask any question, and it'll look on the internet for you. Okay, it makes things so much easier. So your options have vastly improved. Now, with that, things are constantly changing. I keep my thumb on the pulse of AI like crazy, but if I take like a 2 week break, I feel like I'm lost again. It's insane. I started learning how to build AI agents. To then I was first of all, I was gonna hire people to work in my company. And then I read this book where they said the next $1 billion company, what is it? Exponential Organizations 2.0. Really good book if you guys want to start a business. Exponential Organizations 2.0. This book is like the next $1 billion company is gonna have 3 people running it. And I was like, how can I do that? And how can I start to use AI to do that? I started learning how to make agents. By the time I figured out how to make my first agent, it didn't even make sense. I could just pay someone to have a fully built software, fully integrated thing. Although it's good to have the wisdom, but things change so much. And there's no clear roadmap. Before, the path was go to school, get a job, you have some stability in your job, and then you get to retire. That probably is not going to exist in the future. It may be you go to school to develop out some skills and your network and make sure you're around the right people. You look at what type of jobs, or you're creating jobs, or you're doing something in the market that brings value to you. And then who knows what's going to happen after that, because it doesn't exist yet. Maybe someone in this room is going to come up with the idea that is going to be the next $1 billion company. I don't know. But if you do, just remember me. We're going to stay friends. All right. This path is fading and there's nothing to replace it right now, but you got to get to build something new. Now, without direction, people react instead of leading. They are scrolling on their phones and saying, something is going to happen. Eventually, something's going to happen. And they just wait instead of taking charge. In fact, that's what the whole premise of my book is. It's called Stop Drifting. And I'll pass it around to you guys in a sec. Where is the book? Is it here? I'll pass it around to you guys. You guys can look at it. But the whole idea is that many of us end up drifting through life because we don't have direction. And it's harder now. Like it was hard before. It's gonna get harder. You can build a business from your phone. We talked about this. You can learn skills faster than ever. You can multiply your outputs using AI. We touched on these already. And the thing is, you don't have to be that smart to do and win these days. You don't have to be that smart. You just have to be focused and just keep moving in that same direction, no matter, just keep going forward. That's what's going to help you. So I'm going to walk you guys through the MITM Club Vision Casting Framework. I've taught this to so many of my clients. People pay me thousands of dollars to learn this, and I'm going to teach it to y'all for free today. The first thing that we're going to do is define your destination. Where do you want to go in life? All right. Most people skip this. They end up chasing money, validation. Heck, when I was younger, it's like, oh, yo, you don't have this Jordan or that shoe, whatever. You're not in. Why chase that? It makes more sense to build something that's intentional for you. All right. We're going to think bigger. We always want to think 15 years into the future. I know that for some of you, 15 years is your entire life. So maybe we just think 5 years from now. It'll be a little bit easier. But 15 years will really set you apart to say, if I'm 30, and I know it seems like an old person right now, if I'm 25, it seems like an old person right now, but it's going to happen. Right. And you get to write down what experiences you want to have and the person you want to be. Okay. Let's go into this. So we're going to use the 6 pillars. The 6 pillars of life are yourself, your fitness, your finance, your fun, your family, and your education. Okay. If you balance out these 6 pillars of life, you're bound to be successful. And this will make sure that you're enjoying your life. Okay. By self, I'm like, is my mind doing well? By my fitness, do I look good and feel good with no pain? All right. Your finances, do I have money to take care of myself and my loved one? These are things you want to think about and consider. All right. Then we're going to eliminate drift. We want to look at it. I thought you guys are going to be a little older, so it's a little more conceptual. But I want you guys to think about where your time is going. Has anyone ever looked at their screen time on their phone before? You guys look at your screen time? Nah? Okay, for those of you that have your phones, you can do this right now, actually. You can pull out your phone, go to your settings. If you're on an iPhone, I think you swipe completely to the left, and you'll see your screen time. And you get to see where you're putting your energy. And that will tell you wherever you put your energy, that tells you what you care about, right? And what you focus on. So you want to say, are the things that I'm putting my energy on, do they make sense? Yeah? Did you look at your screen time? How many hours you spend on your phone? 2 hours? Two? Okay, good. You're at camp today. That makes sense. How about you? You want to look at lastly? Yeah, just how many hours are you on your phone? 10 hours. What time is it? That's wild. That's wild. Hey, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you can start to see where you actually put your time and what you care about. This still a little conceptual for y'all. You want to choose the direction you want to go in. Are you trying to go in a certain career path? Are you ideally you want to go more the business route, or you focus on stacking certain skills so that no matter what, you're blessed? Okay. I did a blend of all of them, and eventually you will probably want to do a blend of all of them. All right. I personally believe that the future is going to be owned by entrepreneurs, but who knows? It always has been already, and I think it's going to continue down that path. So creatives will be leading the world. Don't chase the trends. So you want to make sure you're not chasing trends. You follow something that makes sense for you. Okay, y'all. I'll move to the next one. Then you want to build your structure. A vision without structure is fantasy. And we don't want to live in a fantasy. We want to make our dream lives a reality. That's why I say your dreams are possible when you write them down. It's very important that you do that step, all right? You need daily, weekly, and monthly reviews. And I'll show you how to start far in the future and work backwards in just a moment. So the next thing is to execute relentlessly. 99% of people fail because they quit too soon, all right? And the crazy thing is, I experienced this firsthand, okay? I opened up a gym October 2019, okay? Super excited. First month we opened, $10,000. Most money I made in a month. Second month, another 10K. Third month, another 10K. I'm like, wow, that's like how much I made in a year in 3 months. This is great, okay? And then I fast forward, I'm like, oh no, lockdowns right after we launched our yoga classes. Terrible. I'm like, okay, we're gonna just stay open and keep this going until whatever happens, right? And we started throwing like beach events because we could be outside and distance and whatever. And we started doing more community outreach engagements and whatever. And 2 months before lockdowns, I'm like, I have no money left. I'm too stressed. I don't want to do this anymore. I closed my gym. And then they lift the lockdowns. Okay. And then I got more calls than I ever got for people that wanted to come and work out. I quit just a little too soon. That's why I'm like, I'm never going to let that happen again, personally. I still have people call me to this day about my gym that was out by O'Connor, Release the Beast Fitness, right? Still, hey, is this gym in the neighborhood? No, it's not. We closed down like how many years ago? Click. But most people fail because they quit too soon. So you need to execute relentlessly, all right? Sometimes things work like a hockey stick, okay? You keep putting in work. It seems like nothing's happening, nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, everyone sees it, all right? And our last thing, so now we're going to re-engineer our life starting from the end and working backwards. So some of y'all may want a piece of paper, but if you think 15 years into the future, you have direction. 10 years gives you more of a positioning. 5 years is normally how long it takes to break through and get some momentum. 3 years, 3 years is your momentum. 1 year is focus, okay? And 12 weeks is actually doable. You can only plan life 12 weeks at a time. But if you think far enough into the future, it's easy to then work backwards and work those steps backwards. So 15 years from now, all right, what are you doing in life? Heck, you could say, what kind of car do you drive? Where are you living? What do you do for fun? Right? Who are the people that are in your life that you're sharing life with? 15 years from today, just write a couple notes of what that dream life would look like. If you write it like a story, just one day, I woke up like this. I was wearing that. I went to hang out with so. This is how I made my money for the day. For 15 years to be a reality, I'm just going to jump to the next one because it's helpful. What has to happen 10 years from now for 15 years to be possible? And then you have the AI keep on helping you make the milestones, right? So that's what I would tell you to do if you're going to use AI. But start with your stuff and then say, what do I have to accomplish 10 years? And that's already jumping ahead for some of y'all. So if you already wrote down some of your ideas for 15 years, what has to be true 10 years to make 15 real, right? You can't say all of a sudden I have $1 million if you didn't make 100,000, or maybe you saved a certain amount. So there's going to be steps and working backwards. All right. Maybe you want to have, I don't know, for me, one of my goals is to have 3,000 rental units, but I need one to start, right? And before I get to 3,000, I might need 500 and I might need 1,000. You see what I'm saying? And you can work backwards from there. Okay, 5 years from now, it's not a lot of time. What would have to be true in 5 years to make 10 years a reality? This is where you have to start thinking about career, right? What are you doing in your life, your day to day? So 5 years from today, what has to happen to make your 10-year goals reality? 3 years from today, what has to be true for 5 years to be real? I'm just making assumptions here, but if that's the future you want to have, or how much have you studied and learned about money so that 3 years from today, you're in a certain position? Because I started making money when I was like 10 years old. Okay? I'm like, I babysit everyone that I can in my neighborhood. I realized that the schools were selling chocolates and making me sell their chocolates to make them money. So I bought my own chocolates. I started selling them, make $90 a box. And I was making money as a kid. I think at 15, I was doing $400 a day just by helping the elderly folks in my neighborhood. It was great. There was Ty's Odd Jobs. And I made a little poster that I put up I printed at the library. And I'm like, I'm not allowed to leave this box around my house as far as like the intersections. So all the lampposts in that box, I put up posters and I made $400 a day as a teenager. Okay. So what would you want to do to then live your dream life? Yeah. So I'm the oldest of 11. Yeah. I'm the oldest of 11. And I hated the fact, and this is real. Okay. Everyone had Jordans and I had Shaqs. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. Um, Everyone had the Blackberries and I had the Sony Ericsson. And then everyone switched to iPhone when I finally got a Blackberry. I was pissed. Okay. So I went out, I learned how to make money. And then that's actually a whole part of like the financial course that I teach. But I'm the oldest of a lot of kids. We didn't have a lot of cat. Yeah. I remember when I was like, I don't know, I was in grade 5. And from Scholastics, they had these giant erasers, right? These big mistake giant erasers. And I got that for myself for Scholastics. And I started cutting it in pieces and I'd sell the pieces to my classmates. I don't know, like 25 cents, $1 here and there. And then what I would do is I would start to trade with different people, different snacks to the snacks that I wanted. and then I would sell the best snacks to whoever would want to buy it from me. I was always hustling from when I was young. I just like to make money. It was a game, right? And money is a game, right? So yeah, that's the youngest age I was making money, but money is not even real. It just exists in the air. Heck, half the ideas, the financial literacy course that I created, I made $80,000 off that course. It was 6 bullet points on a sheet that didn't exist. And I went to people, I'm like, I can teach this. And then I made it as they asked me for it. And then I expanded it to more schools and did even more stuff. It was crazy. Money's not real. It's a game. So if you come up with something cool, just have fun with it. This is the most important thing that I want you guys to think about though. In the next 3 months, because you can plan out your life as far as you want, but that's still just fantasy. To make it real, you can only really work in 3 months or 12 weeks at a time. You can focus on something for 12 weeks and make it happen. Like I wrote that book technically in 3 weeks and it's being sold right now and it's making me money. All right. And it was like 1 week of planning and then 2 weeks of execution and then a month and a half of trying to figure out the formatting because I had no idea what I was doing. All right. You can focus on something for 12 weeks. You can make it happen. When I did the first rooftop comedy show at Lavelle nightclub, it was like 2 months of just straight planning and just to make a night make sense. So I want you guys to consider what are 3 things you need to do in the next 3 months, or pick one thing you need to do in the next 3 months to get closer to your bigger goals. Okay, maybe it's you got to study harder. Maybe it's that you have to start focusing on what career you want a little bit harder and think about those things more. Maybe it's building out better friendships, checking on your friends more often, be a good friend. I don't know. But what are the things that you need to do in the next 3 months to get closer to your goals and your dreams? And with that being said, you can always ask yourself daily, how can AI make me sharper, faster, and how can it help me hit my goals? Because it'll also help you stay on track if you prompt it right. All right. Don't rely on it too much, but use it as an enhancer whenever possible. And that pretty much wraps up today's session.